Alrighty, folks, it is June 1st here in 2034. You know what that means? It is time to go over what has happened here to start this season. As you can see, right here on the standings page, it is a bit of a logjam here at the top of the Pacific Division. We have quite a few good teams going in this division. We are sitting in 6th place in this division despite a 30 and 25 record. 3 games out of first place. The A's are sitting in first right now. Then the Rockies, the Mariners, the Giants, and the Padres, all of us with winning records, and then the D-backs, and then the Dodgers sitting in last place. And it's not like there's really any huge fluky teams going on with winning records either. We're the worst of the bunch with a plus 13 run differential. But still, not awful. That's still above average. That's still good. So just, 6 really solid teams here in this division right now. And if we take a look at the team stats page here, you can see April 15 and 11, solid. May 15 and 14, a bit mediocre, but still, nothing too worrisome or anything like that. One thing I will say is the bats definitely did get off to a slow start, and the pitching hasn't really been as good as you would hope. There is a couple reasons for that, which we will get into here in a second, but if we take a look at the team stats here, you can see we are only 8th in runs scored and 7th in runs allowed, so pretty middle of the road for both of those. I would expect the bats to definitely keep climbing because the bats got off to a really, really slow start, but here in the last few weeks, they've really started to get things going. The big bats in our lineup. That is, some of the more feeling first guys are still not hitting, but, the big bats like the Aquino's and whatnot, they all got off to really slow starts, but right now they are not, they're not on slow starts anymore, let's put it that way. And then the pitching, like I said, it didn't get off to the greatest start, and it's kind of been middle of the road here with the starters here, right? 6th is fine. 8th in bullpen, 7th in runs allowed. We would like to be better than that. Now we do have some good underlying stuff with 2nd in hits allowed and opponents average and BABIP, but we're giving up way too many home runs. But we're not walking guys, and we are striking out a bunch of guys, and we are playing good defense. So right now we're just giving up way too many home runs. That's not a nice number. And if we take a look at our pitching staff here, the first thing you will notice is that Jacob Misiorowski is in the rotation, and that is because Mr. Noah, we have a lot of injuries, as you can see in the system. Things are not going well. We might have to make a trainer change because this is a lot. We have a lot of shit going on. I'm just seeing this page for the first time, and I'm like, holy shit. Also seeing a couple names that stand out to me here, aside from the Benefield, which we knew he's coming back from his torn rotator cuff. But then we've got Mr. Kevin Cherry here, who tore his rotator cuff in around this time last year, like a month from now last year, and he still has 13 to 14 months on this because apparently he's had a setback. So that's just fantastic. I'm also seeing Jeremy Youngblood here, who was our first round 32nd overall pick the past draft. He has chronic back soreness. He's been pitching well in rookie ball this year. He was fine last year. Not fine. He was struggled a bit last year. He's been fine. So he's been good. He's been good in A-ball this year, but he has chronic back soreness. You never want to see that start popping up at age 19, especially when he's durable. You don't love to see that. But anyways, the whole reason we pulled up this page was to show Noah Schultz. Unfortunately, Noah Schultz is going to be out for this year with a torn UCL. Hopefully he does not have any setbacks, and he will be back for next season, and hopefully he's not going to have some huge downgrade in quality. That is always possible, though. Next year is the last year of his contract, so, hopefully he's productive. So right now, we made the decision to put Misiorowski in the rotation. We had him in the bullpen. The plan was for him to be like our main stopper, but, we had to do what we had to do. He's now in the rotation along with Lampkin, Perez, Flynn, and Mike Hoskins, who has been really good. Hoskins did have a little bit of an injury stint here where he had a herniated disc in his back where he missed about a week. He was out. He was in the 15-day IL, so we threw him on there. He missed maybe a couple starts, but he's been fine. He's been good, I should say, but he's fine now. Fine as in he's not hurt, but he's actually been very good in our rotation. You can see here 8 starts, He's had some solid numbers, a 60 fit minus. You're not going to complain about that at all with a sub 4 walk percentage. He's doing what we expected. He's doing the thing where he's not walking anybody, and he's being a solid pitcher for us. So we'd love to see that. Mike Hoskins, keep doing what you're doing. The rest of the rotation, though, has been solid enough if we sort by WAR here. Perez has been really good. Hoskins, like I said, he's been our number 2 this season with you look stats-wise. Lampkin has struggled. He'll have a couple starts where you're like, all right, Lampkin's back, and then he'll have a couple more starts where it's like, all right, he gave up 8 runs. What the hell happened? So hopefully he can figure that as the rest of the season goes. Mizorowski, I believe he was good in the pen, but hasn't been. Yeah, 5 starts in the rotation here, has been god awful, but he was really good in the bullpen. So we might have to look into that because he was striking out half the guys he was facing in the bullpen. He had a 44.7 K minus walk. That's incredible. But I mean, we may have to look into something here because Mizorowski was much better in the pen. It's only 5 starts. Hopefully things can improve a bit. But, if we start getting up to the trade deadline and Mizorowski's still struggling as a starter, we might have to look to move him back to the bullpen. And then Josh Flynn is another guy who hasn't really been great. He's another guy like Lampkin where he'll have a couple starts where you're like, all right, he's starting to cook. And then he'll have a couple more starts where you're like, what the fuck's going on? It hasn't been great. You can see here he's been worse than Lampkin. He just has been bad in both ERA and FIP. He's been giving up way too many home runs. That's his thing. And just overall, we have a lot of guys giving up home runs. Like Mizorowski, you can't have it in the 2s. Livonis and Stead came up because we made some bullpen changes. So Stead came up. He's throwing 10 2/3. This is just completely unacceptable. Same with Livonis. We might have to make a change to send Livonis down because he's walking a bunch of guys too. But we just can't keep rocking with this. He's also his stuff went down a little bit. He's still like pretty much the same guy, but his home runs allowed is just it's a problem right now. So we're gonna have to make a change there. Sosa's giving up too many home runs. Even Lampkin is giving up too many home runs. It's an issue right now, and we've had that issue before because our ballpark is prone to giving up a lot of home runs. But, we're going to have to see if we can fix it the rest of the season. Hopefully it doesn't harm us so we can still get to the playoffs because it's an issue. We need to fix it. But as far as the rest of the team goes, we have Kaneda here he's been very good in that closer 8th plus role. Josh Tackett's been really good. Joe Whitman came up and he made the 3 starts for Hoskins when Hoskins was on the IL. Whitman's a guy we signed to a minor league deal last offseason as just a lefty to have in the system, and he was actually really good in AAA as a veteran pitcher who's had some good years in the big leagues. If we take a look at his major league stats here, he's never really been fantastic, but he's had some serviceable years in the San Francisco rotation. So we signed him. He was lights out in AAA last year. And he was really good in 3 starts in the big leagues this year, and now he's in the bullpen for us as a lefty multi-inning guy. You can see his stuff ticks up a bit as a reliever, so we'd love to see that. Bo Peterson, unfortunately, has not been good, and then we talked about Stead and Livonis, and then Sosa also has not been good. These 3 guys are really killing the bullpen right now, so we might have to take Sosa out of the stopper role, honestly. Maybe even put Whitman into that role. Who knows? And now taking a look at the bats, like I said, all these guys got off to really slow starts, but they are not having slow starts right now. Chris Aquino just tearing the cover off the ball, a 2 WAR, a 157 WRC+. He's got 17 home runs through 2 months of the season. He's incredible. What can you say? He's walking a ton more. His strikeout rate's below 30. Look at that. Juan Padilla, he's tearing the cover off the ball as well. Burns' his favorite player. Juan Soto here, he's still doing the damn thing at age 35. Andres Carrasco has been solid. He's one of the guys who got off to a really slow start. You can see here in April, but he's been an absolute monster here in May. And then Chris Lesnar also got off to a really slow start. A 36 WRC plus in April, but a 163 here in May. The strikeout rate is still quite high, but hopefully that can stabilize a little bit more as the season goes on. As far as the rest of these guys go, like Dowd is. I should mention that we are actually playing Dowd and Chalowski with a platoon, because if we look at Dowd, he's much better against righties, whereas Chalowski is much better against lefties. So we have them platooning, but then against lefties, we have Dowd as the defensive replacement because he's just the better defensive shortstop over Chalowski, who can hold his own there, but Dowd is definitely better. So that's what we've been doing there, but neither of them are hitting, so the platoon's really not working. Chalowski has a minus WAR. It has not been going good. Canalate's been exactly a 0 WAR. He's been an awful bat, but he's been playing a decent center field. So I made the collective decision to try out a little thing where we're going to be playing Clancy every third game in center field and just see how it goes with a little bit less time with Canalate being like the every single day guy. Also, Aiden Huzzy, his start to his tenure here at second base has not been great. Remember, he got the big power boost in the dev lab, very similar to Juan Padilla, and also very similar to Juan Padilla. It's been starting off slow. It took Juan Padilla a little bit to really get acclimated with the big leagues before he started breaking out and having a great season. I believe his first year as a starter, I was saying this exact same thing with Padilla, where I was like, the bat is too good to be putting up numbers like this. We believe in the bat. I think that's where I'm at with Aiden Huzzy as well. Hopefully things can keep improving as the season goes on. Now, I will say Aiden Huzzy has been bad defensively, which is not great to see. Hopefully he can, somewhat improve there. I keep putting him in the dev lab to try to improve his second base. It keeps not working, but we're going to keep trying it every offseason until it does work. One thing I really should mention is that you can see Logan O'Hoppe here has a sub 100 WRC plus right now. His numbers haven't been awful. Like, he's still got 10 home runs. But it's been bad, I should say. It's not looking good. He's starting to get to the point where he might not be the dude anymore. His defense is at the point where we really should not be playing him every day at center field. But the way our roster is constructed, it's like he can't play first and he can't play DH. So we're in a bit of a pickle right now. It's with Logan O'Hoppe. We're going to have to figure that out as the seasons go on. But right now, he is our catcher. That's what we're going to keep rolling with. And hopefully the bat can start coming around more because we need it to. We can't have a sub 100 WRC plus from him. We can't have his walk rate dropping this much. We can't have his strikeout rate inflating this much. It's just, he needs to be better. That's simple as that. And it doesn't really look great because he's had a lot of minuses recently, but it's been mainly his defense stuff, I would say. Although he does had some his potential power and eye has been going down, but this year his eye went down, his contact went down. You can see it's all since 2033 too. So things have not been doing great in Logan O'Hoppe land. Hopefully he can still be productive though. Especially because we have him signed for this year, next year, and then there's an opt-out after next year, which he probably opts into with how things are trending with him, because he's not going to opt out and try to get more money in free agency, because right now it's looking like he's going to be maybe not a productive player by the time these 2 years kick in. And luckily this last year is a team option, so hopefully he can still be productive, but things are not looking great. And now it is June 1st, so that means it is also time for the first-year player draft here. We have the 34th pick. Number 1 overall is the Houston Astros. 1 through 5 is the Astros, Rays, Expos, D-backs, and Phillies. The Oaks got screwed once again, dropping from 1 to 7. I feel like they've had this multiple times where they've had a top 3 pick and they drop down multiple picks. I mean, they just keep getting shafted. But we are here in the draft. Number 1 overall pick for the Houston Astros is going to be Jeremy Japanese Babe Ruth Kern. We got a white guy from Bellflower, California, who's committed to Middle Tennessee State as the number 1 overall pick, attending one of these. And I can only assume is one of these just high schools that all they do is just produce California athletes. That when they get to the big leagues, all the announcers are like, well, I can't believe this guy was at the same high school with 85 other current big leaguers. Really? You can't believe that? Maybe talk to us like we're not 4 years old, all right? But anyways, Jeremy Kern here, #1 overall pick. We move things on 34th, and we still got a couple decent potential guys here, but they are all high schoolers. All right, so first things I'm seeing is that the best overall guy here is a starting pitcher, high school. He's not even 18 yet, has some 2A capability, but he's already fragile. So that's, no, we're not doing that. The next best guy available is this left fielder, entirely probably just a first baseman. I don't think I would want to play this guy in left field. You know, maybe you can get some dev lab magic and work him to be more respectable in left, but as it stands right now, he's a first baseman. And he does have some decent hitting potential here. So maybe we go with this guy just as like the best player available, but he doesn't really stand out too much to me. Then the third best available is another high school pitcher who he seems fine. What if we sort by not pitchers. What if we sort by batters here? It's just all high school guys. Well, we got this guy, Dave Woodard, who is a college guy from Pepperdine. All right, this actually makes sense. You got a guy from California who went to Pepperdine. He's got a weird profile where he can't throw the ball at all, and he can be like an average second baseman, I guess. And he does have an interesting bat profile where he's got some 60 power. It's all home run power and no doubles, though. He could have an average eye, and he could have some really good BABIP to go with the power, and he's not going to strike out. So maybe Dave Woodard is probably what I'm thinking. If we go sort by college players, all players, he's the best college player available. Then there's like this pitcher who's a 2-pitch guy. You're not a starter. You're also from the very nasty university. This guy, he's fine. He's whatever. None of these guys are like people I would prefer over Dave Woodard. And do I even prefer Dave Woodard over Alan Stidham? Maybe. I mean, it's just like Woodard. I guess he could give you second base, but he's really just like a first baseman. He's ideally a first baseman. So they're both first base. He's durable. He's closer to the big leagues than Mr. Stidham is here. Who does our scout think we should take? Our scout thinks we should take Stidham. I think I agree with him, so I think we're just going to take the best available guy here who's not fragile in Nate Crozier. We're going to take Alan Stidham here. Number 34 overall. We'll meet his demand. It's whatever. We move things on to round 2. And Dave Woodard is still here. All right. Our scout thinks we should take Chris McKay, a high school. Once again, I feel like these classes the past few years have just been all these like corner outfield guys who can't even really play corner outfield. They're just these dudes like Chris McKay who have this type of outfield presence. And then it's just like, oh, you could play him with like a really shitty first base. And that's pretty much all that's ever available, I feel like. Maybe it's because we're starting to pick towards the back end of these classes, and that's like what's available. But you know, it's definitely it's been not great. I don't mind this guy. His BABIP's already maxed out at 45. I don't think I can do that. Even with the adaptability, work ethic, and intelligence, he is a really, really good personality class here. But I don't think I can pull the trigger on this guy. So this Pat Coakley guy is interesting. He's definitely more of just a really good. I mean, he just straight up is. He's not going to be a center fielder. He's just like a good corner outfielder, high work ethic, decent speed, could have some good power with a Void K combining with it. Maybe I like that he's durable as well. There's this guy with the crazy name, but he's a starter who only has 2 pitches, so he's a no. Mike Amos, I would say he's probably the best high school starter here, and that is, I mean, this is sort of by alphabetical though. But let's just go like starting pitchers. Even though every time we take a starter, they immediately get hurt. So maybe we're just like setting ourselves up for failure. But I mean, like you got to take these guys if you think they're the best available. This guy is not, though, because he is the same thing where his BABIP has already developed and it's 45. So, never going to be great there. Once again with that guy. This guy's already... I don't understand why their BABIP is already developed like that, but some of these guys have real shit BABIP. Yeah, I mean, what the hell? But yeah, Amos is definitely the best high school starter of the bunch here. But do I want to take him right now? Maybe. If we go batters... I mean, this guy's got a decent bat. He's just like a third baseman. He's not a second baseman with this turn double play. He can't really play left field. He can play like a shitty left field. He's like an okay third baseman with a good bat. We might be leaning towards that guy or this guy. I like this guy quite a bit. I think if this bat develops, that's really solid. He's got the good speed. He can give you like an elite corner outfield defense. I think I prefer Vickers, and then if Momo is here next pick, we're gonna take Momo. So Vickers is our second round pick. Move things on. Momo's still there. Boom. I'm not wasting any time. We're just taking Momo. Boom. Move things on. We're now in round 5 because we did not have a... I think that was round 4. I don't know. We lost some pick because of signing Mizorowski because he had compensation. It was either the 3rd or the 4th round, but we still got our guys there. Now we're under round 5. And our scout thinks that we should still take Chris McKay. And it's like, he is the best available bat. He's not the best available overall, though. There's just a bunch of these pitchers who... This guy does not have 45 BABIP. He has a 50 BABIP. So maybe I wouldn't mind taking this guy and seeing if we could develop him in our system. I like the fact that he has good stuff and good control potential. This guy I know for a fact is a 45 BABIP guy. Urrutia is also a 45 BABIP guy. What about college players? All right, so there's one 50-grade college player. He's a catcher. Not really anything too special. So we're going high school route, and I think we're either taking this guy, Daniel Stanky Lanes, out of East St. Louis, Illinois, who's committed to University of Iowa, or we are taking Chris McKay as like a big bopping first baseman type. I think we're going to take the pitcher. We're just going to go pitcher here. Taking Daniel Stanky Lanes, move things on. To round 6, and Chris McKay's still here. The scout now wants us to take this guy over him. I think we're just going to take McKay because he's best available. Boom. We move things on round 8, and then the other guy goes. There's no, like, blue outfielder range guys who are, like, really actually... Like, this guy's a reliever who sucks as a reliever, but he also is never going to hit, and he has, like, a fake 70 range. And then the infield range, you've got, like, this guy who's not very aptly named Billy Pitcher. But, you know, maybe you should be a pitcher because, I mean, you stink at that too, but you're never going to hit, and you're never actually going to be, like, a real defender either. Fake 75 range. We do have a catcher here with 70 framing with a 45 potential, and a lot of the guys here are 45 potentials. Like, we're up to the point now where, like, the best dudes available are 50s. So, like, a catcher with a 70 framing is... You could absolutely take a guy like that right now, and I think that might be what we're leaning towards. Our scout thinks we should take Joe Rizpeka, who just flat out sucks. He's fragile, he sucks, he can't be a two-way guy. Why do you want me to take this guy? Who fucking knows? But you got a couple holy duo guys here as well among the 50s, like this closer, Mike Brewer, who probably not interested in taking a closer right now. Then you've got this starter who is interesting, even though he's a high school guy. He has the 45 BABIP, which isn't great, but he does have the high work ethic, intelligence, adaptability. I think we might lean towards taking this guy and then seeing if the catcher is still there. There's also this shortstop at 70 power, who's like entirely a 3-true outcomes guy. And he's not a shortstop at all. He's a first baseman. Yeah, he's a first baseman DH. You do also have this guy, Vince Wright, who's a shortstop where his gap power isn't really developed at all, but he does have an interesting profile where he's going to have like average-ish contact with some good gap power if that develops. Decent speed, 60s across the board in the infield range. Can also play you a decent like corner outfield. 60 potential in left field. I don't know if I prefer him over Hader, but he's definitely interesting. Vince Wright. Yeah. I think we're going to go Pat Hader. Boom. Move things on. Vince Wright got taken. Is the 75 framing catcher there? Or the 70 framing? He is indeed. So we're going to take the 70 framing catcher. Move things on round 9. Our scout thinks we should take Chris Ehlers, who is a reliever. So if our scout thinks we should take a reliever, I'm tempted to just take this work ethic intelligence guy and see if we can like sort of strike gold with a good profile. Even if his home runs allowed isn't developed at all, I'm tempted. Or we can just take this guy, the big 3-true outcomes fly ball hitter. I think we want to do that. I think we're going to take Howie Luttrell, move things on. Of course, Brewer goes, and I think we're going to do the rest of this, and then we'll cut back in. Alrighty, so we are here back at the end of the draft. I believe we left off after taking Howie Luttrell in the 9th round. So we took Stidham, Vickers, Momo, Lanes, McKay, Hader, Wynot, and then Howie Luttrell. And then we followed that up with a right-handed pitcher, Tae-Gun Kim, out of California, a durable pitcher who, you know, maybe could be something with some development, has high work ethic. Then in round 11, we took a catcher with high adaptability and work ethic. More so a first baseman, I would say, with this type of catching profile. But I have heard that adaptability is big for the dev lab. So who knows? Maybe we can get a big dev lab boost, and this guy can figure out how to actually catch, pair it with this hitter profile, and all of a sudden he looks much more intriguing as a prospect. Then we also took Juan Rivera, this guy with some really good eye, speed, 80 grade sack bunt, high adaptability, work ethic, intelligence. I just thought he was very moldable, had an interesting profile with the big eye, speed, and then the good personality class, so we took him. Then we also took a reliever who, once again, adaptability, work ethic, big stuff, 2 good pitches. The class really, really fell off around round 10. So a lot of these are just like, you know, maybe they could be something with if a miracle happens. Another lefty reliever type guy. And then we also had this guy who has some good stuff, home run suppression, 2-pitch mix, can't, you know, hit the side of a goddamn barn with his pitches. We also took this guy with 70 grade stuff, once again a control issue, but he's a lefty, ground baller, holds runners, 2 good pitches, potential, good stuff. Who knows? We took this guy, throws hard, whatever. We took this guy because he has a 65 grade knuckleball potential. You know? Throws a bunch of junk. Curveball, changeup, knuckleball. Very interesting pitch mix. We'll see if this guy actually develops. Then we also took this guy. Felt like he was a moldable hitter with the adaptability, work ethic. Who knows? Like I said, the class really fell off. So these, especially these last 2 picks, are just like, I mean, not a lot of stuff going on here. Chris Berry, 60 grade power. That's really all there is to it. He's listed as a shortstop, but he's a first baseman. We will definitely be changing his position to first base. We can probably just do that right now, even though it won't keep him there. But Chris Berry, you know, 60 grade power. That's our draft class, 1 through 20. There you have it.